Hello and welcome to the Petticoated Swashbuckler. My name is Maren and today we are making some dainty white little sillinesses. So I'm very soon, a couple of weeks, going to Scotland on a romantic getaway. Not romantic as in romantic, but romantic as in the romantic era. So I've gone for the 1830s because it's just so silly. I love it. And I've made a lot of stuff. I've made this blue dress. I've made an evening dress or like ball dress. I have an archery dress. I have a dressing gown. I am trying to fit in another evening type dress. I've made a lot of stuff. I made a coat. I made a bonnet. A lot of stuff. However, I don't feel like I can do the 1830s justice without some silly fluffy whiteness. So I really wanted to make some white accessories. I wanted to make some caps and I wanted to make these guys, I think they're called pelerines or capelets, or I don't know, they are funny. I like them. I mean, and I have obviously succeeded. I love this garment so much. It makes me feel silly. To be honest, it makes me feel a little bit like Mrs. Bennet. But I love it. So I went through and I looked at a lot of different kinds of these pelerines first. And some of them, a lot of them seem to be cotton, some linen, a few silk. And they seem to be very fine, very, very thin, very sort of flimsy material. Some of them are embroidered. I don't have time to embroider my pelerines at this point, so I got some pretty nice embroidery anglaise fabric, which is actually 100% cotton, which I was astonished to find, because in my experience this kind of fabric is always super polyester, like very polyestery and a bit icky to touch. So I was very happy with that. A lot of them have these long thingamabobs hanging down, so I wanted to make at least one with that. And then a lot of them have little collars, so I wanted to make that as well on one of them. So I got this fabric. I got some very nice silk organza and some pretty lace, so that's, you know, made that for another one. And then I also really wanted to make a couple of these little caps, and they are so simple to make and I love them so much. And this is what I call my Jane Austen hair care tip or trick or like hack, because in a letter to maybe to her sister Cassandra, maybe to someone else, it is a letter written by Jane Austen at one point when she's talking about, this is after she's no longer very young, and she's starting to find the pressure of staying like beautiful and lovely all the time a bit much. She'd rather just sit and write. So she writes in her letter that to save time in the mornings, she's had a couple of little caps done. And the reason for that is because then she can only just like put her hair up in a bun like I've done, style the front of her hair, and then put a cap on, and none's the wiser. And it's my go-to trick for historical like hairstyling in this period. If you don't want to spend a lot of time doing that, you can just throw a cap on. Only style this bit, the rest don't bother with it. Same if you have really short hair and you want to fake long hair, clip on bun and then style your fringe, or style your hair and like comb it forwards to your fringe and then cover the rest with a cap. So that's my little go-to hack for you. Now, before I show you this cap to better advantage, and the other one, and the other cape and the other cap. I have these lovely little pillows inside my sleeves. They keep falling down. It looks like I have to readjust my enormous biceps all the time. Any of you who've done 1830s, do you have a good trick to keep them in place? I'm all ears. So thank you in advance. And now on to the making. The pelerine body I cut using a pattern from Black Snails. I just added the 2 long lapels. I did manage to cut it on fold, which is lovely. And then I cut a color as well. The body I hemmed. And I hemmed the collar using some bias tape. And then I attached the collar using more bias tape as facing. And this pelerine is closed with a little brooch in the neck. The lace pelerine, I used another sort of pattern that I've found online. I cut the bodies, I cut 2 flounces, and I cut a collar. I then discarded the collar because it was very, very hard to hem it in a pretty way. And I thought, well, that's fine, because the first one has a collar, then this one can have like a ruffle or a flounce. That's cool. I trimmed the ruffles with lace. I stitched the ruffles together at the center back, and then I gathered the ruffles onto the bodies. After stitching that in place, I went in and trimmed and hemmed the entire thing. And this one almost doesn't need anything to close with, but I will also close this one with a brooch. Now for the caps, they are very simple. I use a pattern from the Workwoman's Guide. It's a little late, it's from 1838, but that doesn't really matter. And I cut 1 piece on fold and then a ruffle. For my cotton cap, I just cut a piece on fold from plain cotton and a ruffle from the embroidered cotton. And then I cut a silk cap and also a silk ruffle. I assembled the cap. I stitched gathering stitches in the ruffles. I stitched the ruffles on, and then I just trimmed it with as much like lace and ruffles and stuff that I could be bothered with. The final bit is that I made some gathering stitches at the bottom hem of the cap and gathered that to fit. The biggest difference between the silk cap and the cotton cap is that the silk cap is so very see-through. So I didn't, even though I'm quite good at hand stitching, I'm fairly good at like making nice flat felt seams. It just didn't look very nice at the top. So I just covered all those seams with a little lace, because when in doubt, you can always add lace. And with all of that done, here's the result. Ooh. Sorry, that's my neighbours having fun. I'm so proud of these. They just feel so silly and so cute. And I mean, come on. I feel like a cake. I feel like a cupcake, which is a good feeling. So, have you ever tried making something like this before? Let me know in the comments. And this was a bit of a short one. I am very busy preparing for Scotland and everything that I need to do before I go to Scotland, and the things that need to be ready because they're happening while I'm in Scotland. So it's a crazy time, but a bit of a short video today, and then you'll get more lovely, silly 1830ness when I get to Scotland. So we'll have another one before that. There will be, or actually while I'm in Scotland, there'll be like a small, yeah, I have one project left that I hope I will finish in time. And this time it's a very spooky project. So stay tuned for that, and have a happy spooky month, and make some super silly stuff, and enjoy the autumn, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.